Carl, of course, a hectic schedule continues really, of course, with a lengthy trip to Rochdale tomorrow in midweek, the first of the two games this week. But I mean, just quickly looking back to Saturday, obviously you mentioned it at the time, it being a bit of a frustrating one. How have you looked at things since then, I suppose, with the emotions kind of aside from it when you're reflecting on things?
We went in depth on the game. Obviously showed the positives in the moments in the first half where visibly in terms of our body language and our quality, it was a lot better than what we've seen in the second half. And then you start to think, given the period that we're in, is it tiredness? And there is a part of that. There's no doubt, the amount of minutes that a lot of the players are having to churn out at the moment is quite significant. But then there were areas and there was no excuse, and we made that clear to them in terms of the quality and the turnover of possession. So many unforced errors, when we're in good positions to play the style of football that we want to play and the patterns that we want to see emerge. The lads, have taken accountability and sort of realised, looking at the clips, that there was a lot of sloppy, unnecessary play. So we draw a line under it and we move on.
And in terms of moving on, of course, we touched on Rochdale tomorrow being the next game coming up. I mean, they were in FA Trophy action at the weekend. Obviously, we know ourselves from past seasons the confidence that can sort of bleed across into league form. How we really are looking ahead to that one, because obviously, again, I think we mentioned on Saturday, they're a side who are not too far away from the playoff positions, have quite a few games in hand as well at the minute. Yeah,
so Rochdale, obviously a really good opponent. We know that. Play a very similar style of play, similar formation. The games previously, particularly here, I mentioned before the game that it would be sort of a game of chess and very tactical, and it turned out to be that way. From a table perspective, we obviously want to keep the gap as big as possible for as long as possible. We're hanging in there, given our circumstances, with them being deep into the FA Trophy and, suffered a lot of postponements. They've obviously got those games in hand, so it's really important for us to make sure that they don't gain any ground, and they have to work really hard to make up those points with the games in hand. But we know it's a really tough game. We're not blessed at the moment in terms of being able to rotate the squad. We're asking a lot of the players, and I urge, our supporters, to really just back them fully, get behind the players, give them all the support that they can get, because they're going through a massive shift at the moment. Like I say, we haven't got the luxury to be rotating much, and we haven't really come out of the weekend great, if I'm honest, in terms of feedback from the players and their bodies. So we're going to need, all the support we can possibly get, because, like I say, it's a difficult fixture for us, but it's a one that'll challenge us, and we go there. Obviously looking to get the 3 points.
You mentioned there in terms of the players and the sort of shift they're going through at the minute, how big of an ask is it from you as coaching staff? Because like you say, there's not the luxury of being able to rotate a whole squad or an entirely a whole squad. There's obviously a lot of lads who are pretty much playing game after game, back to back within 3-4 days of each other at the minute.
Yeah, and people have opinions on it, and just get on with it, and they don't know the ball and all the rest of it. But honestly, we look at the data, and we've got the luxury of having that data and seeing the ground that they cover and the work that they do, and nobody can fault their work ethic. You can see that, and that's reflected in the stats that we look at, and the quick succession of games and the relentlessness of it. It's so tough for them, and I really do try and sympathise, but get the balance right between obviously, pushing players to play and give their all whenever they're required. But at the moment, without the luxury of being able to rotate, there's no doubt that the schedule is taking its toll. And like I say, they just need all of our support and backing at the moment. We've sat down in the office there today and really assessed the squad, broke it into different parts in terms of, who's feeling well, who's potentially on the cusp, who obviously isn't available at the moment. So we have an understanding of where we need to try and look after lads. Some aren't training, you know, at the moment, full sessions or coming out, or some aren't even training at all, just to really try and get the best out of them. The match days are obviously the most important, and it is obviously a crucial part of the season. So unfortunately, with the current structure, you know, getting bodies in probably isn't achievable at this moment in time. So like I say, you know, the players we've got, we have to back them 100%, you know, give them all the support they can get, and hopefully we can keep on picking results, because, you know, despite what we've been going through, we have been getting results. You know, the weekend, it wasn't a defeat, even though obviously it felt like one, and we felt like we should win those games, but we just need to keep ticking over and try to hang in there as long as possible, and then hopefully we get some of the bodies back towards the back end of the season.
And you mentioned from a table perspective relating to tomorrow's game, but of course coming to what everyone cliche calls the business end of the season and that type of thing. Now, are we getting to the point where you start to pay attention to the league table, or lads start to pay attention to the league table, or is it very much still out of sight, out of mind for you?
Yeah, I've said it before in a few interviews, I never look at the table. You know, there comes a certain point when you have to, obviously. Not quite there yet, to be honest. Obviously, I'm aware roughly of what goes on. But it is just a game-by-game basis. It has to be. I mean, we have set targets in terms of points that we want to accumulate. You know, we've got 3 5-game blocks now that we're working to achieve, and we have our targets for each of those 5-game blocks. So yeah, for me, the focus fully has to be on the next game, as opposed to thinking too far ahead, because in these games, you know, like I say, we haven't got the luxury of maybe being able to win a game without being at our best. We, you know, absolutely have to be at our best for the full 90 minutes in order to get 3 points. I think we've seen that at the weekend. So, yeah, we're being as positive as we possibly can be, and we'll go with it. It probably doesn't seem like it the way I'm talking, but we are, and the players, no doubt, will give everything to win the game, as they always try to do.